Watched him a few times over the years on different streams, different qualifiers. But as I was just saying to Chris Mason off the air, Cameron needs opportunities now. He's had one, he's put himself in the shop window, and maybe what that's done, even though he's lost that match valiantly, I might add, it might give him the opportunity to get some financial backing to maybe come back to Europe and test himself elsewhere, because that shows that he's got the kind of game that will worry people in Europe.
Yeah, he played well. Nyman is going to be a threat. That is going to be a blockbuster second round match with Joe Cullen.
Absolutely. That first leg, by the way, Nyman looked really nervous, and then he pops in that 139 finish with treble 19, bullseye and double 16. It was remarkable. And then you think at 2-0, oh, he's going to roll him over. But the ability of Cameron to deny Nyman a shot for the match at any point over the next couple of sets and a bit shows how defiant he can be. That was a brilliant, brilliant display, a great match. But ultimately, you've got to pay credit to Nyman. In that final set, he averaged 103.31. He saved his best darts for the end, and when the pressure was on, he delivered.
He did indeed, and he will take on Joe Cullen in round two. One of many, many mouth-watering ties we have got to come, and it is darts all the way here from the Alexandra Palace. Still to come, Ian White takes on the Filipino Sandro Eric Sosing, and Stephen Bunting, the bullet, he takes his place on the stage against Kai Gotthardt in the final game of the day. Bunting, the number 8 seed, is in action later on this afternoon. Still to come as well, it is a double-header, don't forget. Mickey Mansell takes the stage tonight against Tomoyo Goto. Florin Hempel takes on Jeffrey Desvan. Willie O'Connor takes on Dylan Slevin, and Michael Van Gerwen takes on James Hurrell. We are awaiting the two players out onto the stage here, as we've got plenty of action still to come. Let's have a look at what we've got coming up tonight. I want to ask you about Stephen Bunting, Nick. I mentioned to Mace earlier on about the fact that Bunting could well be a wild card selection for the Premier League. Do you think he's got a shout?
I think that's a fabulous shout. I think when we talk about previous winners of massive events, when Stephen Bunting won the Masters back in January, a lot of people were saying what a season he is about to have. But the fact is, he's had such a successful time of it without winning another tournament, where he's in the shop window, not just from a commercial perspective, but also from a form perspective. 6 times getting to a final this season. Yes, he didn't win any of those 6 finals, but the fact remains is Stephen Bunting is up to a ranking in the world that he's never attained before, and he's been in the Premier League before. He would not be a Premier League debutant for me, but with so many people dropping down the rankings and not being in the reckoning, the likes of Gezi Price potentially, Peter Wright, Michael Smith after his monumental fall down the rankings last night with 485,000 ranking points lost. There are so many people who are maybe not going to be in the Premier League, but we have to say that he's in the window.
Well, let's just hear from John McDonald. We've got a little bit of breaking news here, sadly.
Unfortunately, Susong has complained of chest pains and has been taken under medical advice. So unfortunately, this match will not take place. Therefore, our next match and our final match this afternoon will be between Stephen Bunting and Kai Gotthardt. Sosing has been taken to hospital, and we will keep you posted with that. But our next match will be Bunting and Gotthardt.
Yeah, that's a little bit of breaking news. Chris Mason joined us, just come into the commentary box to tell us the news. Not great. I mean, obviously, we hope that Sandro is okay. That's the first thing, isn't it?
Yeah, first and foremost, hope he's okay, and he, whatever help he needs medically, gets sorted. Just complained of chest pains in the practice room, and listen, it could be anything. I hope it's just anxiety. I've gone through that, and it feels horrendous. The pressure and the nerves just get on top of you, and I'm just, even though that's not a great thing, it's better than the alternative. But yeah, just for the sake of not being sure, they take him to the hospital where they do some checks on him. And yeah, first and foremost, our best wishes are with him. it's just a game of darts after all.
Yeah, no, of course, and I'm sure his family, you know, back at home will be incredibly worried. So we'll keep you up to date with that
but
one.
He is okay. He just doesn't feel well. So
yeah, well, fingers crossed he's in the best place and getting the best care, I'm sure. So Ian White will make his way through to round 2 then. Ian Diamond White is through. Sad situation, but that is how it is. We'll keep you up to date with that one. And of course, they can't just turn around backstage and say to Stephen Bunting and Kai Gotthardt, right lads, you're on.
Yeah, it's not.
They'll have been planning to be on in an hour.
In boxing, you get a similar scenario, but they're ready to go. The players sort of. I always used to. I didn't like going on first in the day, but I didn't mind going on first at night because you knew at 7:15, no matter what, you were going on. When you're third or fourth on, you never know, Nico, do you? And you sort of get yourself 3 quarters ready, and you sort of know, right, okay, right, you see a match and it could be 2-0 in sets, and you're on that practice board, you're ready to go, and then it comes 2-1, 2-2, tiebreaker.
A bit like that last one.
Yeah, you sort of sat down, sat up, sat down, so you don't know what you're doing. It's a bizarre scenario, but experience teaches you to you're able just to tick over. It'd be okay for Bunting, but for Kai, who's in unknown territory, you've got to give him, you've got to say to him, right, this is what's happening, you've got 20 minutes, and he wouldn't be far off. He wouldn't be far off being up to speed anyway.
I'll tell you a bit of a story about the 2010 championship here, because we had a dreadful snowstorm and I was playing in an evening session, and when I left the hotel with my manager in the car, we were hearing reports on the radio of the weather actually stopping everything in the vicinity of Alexandra Palace.
Couldn't get up the hill, could you?
No, we couldn't get anywhere close to it, and it got to the stage where we were in communication with Tommy Cox, the tournament director, and we were talking with Graham Fairhurst and all of the people at Sky Sports. What's happening? Is the darts actually happening? When we found out that the darts was happening, it got to the stage where I was about 2.5 hours away from my scheduled time, and I like to get here about 4 hours before. I was stuck in traffic for the best part of 2.5 hours, and I said, I'm getting out the car, I'm going to walk. And I was in loafers and my darts regalia, and I thought, if I get there, I have a chance, because I knew that Terry Jenkins was already here. For some reason, he got here about 8 hours before, crafty as always. So I walked through the snow, up the hill, got to the front door where Matthew Porter, the chief executive of the PDC, was saying, right, get yourself in here. I looked at my watch and I thought, I've got 90 minutes to get ready. I'll be fine. I'm freezing. So I went backstage. First person I saw was Tommy Cox, and he says, right, you're on in 45 minutes. And I went, no, I'm not. I'm on in about an hour and a half. And he said, no, I've brought your game forward. And I thought, do you know what? He's not with us anymore, Tommy Cox, and we do miss him. But that moment, I thought, that is a bit rude. To bring my game forward after I've walked 3 miles in the snow? You've got to be kidding me. Well, yeah, these things happen.
Yeah, and it shouldn't happen. That's what we have a PDPA for. We have a Professional Dart Players Association who should step in and go, you can't do that to a player. I was here that year, and I can remember seeing Vincent van der Voort, and he said he couldn't walk up the hill.
Same session.
Yeah, same session he was on. He couldn't get up the hill. He couldn't walk up the hill.
I remember I was watching it home on the TV, and you were seeing fans pushing players' cars in the snow and everything.
Oh, it was absolutely horrendous. And yeah, I don't understand those. I know we've got a TV schedule, but it's a bit like this situation. This is what you're paid to do. You've got to find a way of. The priority is the players. They're the entertainers. They're the one who's putting on a show. I don't want to see Nico up there freezing cold on 30 minutes practice. I want to see him up there at his absolute best. So does everybody else, and that's what we feel about all the players.
Yeah, and I was playing darts in my life at the time. I just lost in the semi-finals of the German Darts Championship to Taylor, and at that point I'm thinking, I'm going to this Worlds in fine fettle, and I knew I was going to beat Terry. I was in that good a form, but I was fried, and I lost 3 sets to 2. I was really proud that I got 2 sets off Terry in that match, but I was so angry at the situation. I said, I've just got to get my own back on someone after this.
And you can't play angry.
6 weeks later, I became Players Champion.
That's how you deal with it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That is how you deal with it. Chris, your thoughts, Vessel Nyman, Joe Cullen. I think Joe Cullen would have been cheering on Cameron Carolison, wouldn't he, at the end of that game?
Yeah, I think with Joe's form at the moment, you can turn it around, and you sometimes got to be careful with it. When you play at this place or somewhere like the match play, it does special things to you, and it can inspire you. I think Cameron was inspired there. There's nothing on his resume to suggest he could play at that level. But you get in here under the lights, it will make you, but it can break you. But on this occasion, it was one of those making of a player moments, I think. And Vessel Nyman won't play that. And I'm taking nothing away from Cameron, but that was a C- game from Vessel Nyman. He still found a way to win. I said it before I've seen Vessel play. I thought Joe was in a world of trouble coming into this one because his form is in ribbons at the minute. But that's not saying he can't turn up here and it all click.
Yeah, no, quite easily it could do. Some monster ties to look forward to in the second round. Stephen Bunting against Kai Gotthardt then will be our next live action here. Sadly, Sandro Sosing has been taken to hospital with chest pains. We hope he's okay. His match with Ian White has been postponed. To come tonight, Mickey Mansell takes on Tomoya Goto. Florian Hempel against Jeffrey Devard should be a decent game. Willie O'Connor against Dylan Slevin, an all-Irish affair. And then Michael Van Gerwen, three-time former champ, takes on James Hurrell, the hillbilly, who beat Jim Long on debut. All that to come.
This is how brutal the PDC is. That ain't postponed. He's out, White's through.
Yes, of course. Yeah, of course.
They wouldn't do anything nice like that.
I'll tell you what, Mark, that all-Irish game, that's really interesting, because I was doing the Aces and Arrows podcast with Mace earlier in the week, and that was my pick for the game of the round. It's got a few acts to follow, we might add, but that's the first all-Irish clash since the very first Alexandra Palace tournament at the 2008 event, because Jack O'Barry and Mick McGowan went head-to-head. It was 3-0 to Mick McGowan, who was playing some great stuff at the time. He ultimately lost to the eventual finalist, Kirk Shepherd, who survived more bullets than you would ever be able to comprehend. But that all-Irish match that we saw in 2008 is the only one in World Championship history in the PDC since 1994, and now we get our second dose of that with O'Connor against Dylan Slevin. I think Ireland will shut down for about 60 minutes watching that one.
And Mick McGowan was called the Magnet, because when he was around the 60, it was like there was a magnet on it. I played him in one of the early Players' Championship events, and he averaged something like 123 against me. He was a top player when he was on his game.
Interesting. Speaking of top players or top athletes, the boxing's on tomorrow. Chris, I know you're a massive boxing fan. It's Usyk against Fury 2. What's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I think we've seen enough. I don't think the first fight, I don't know why we've got this narrative that it was a close fight, it was easy to score. Don't know about the point situation, because of course there was a 10-8 round, because round 9 potentially Fury could have been stopped. The ref gave him every opportunity to carry on, and I suppose you should in a fight of that magnitude. But for me, and it's pretty evident, they have this thing with this Kronk style, and it's all about, holding your feet and taking opponents out. That style was adopted by Fury because his legs are gone. He don't live the life. He's a huge man. He's not 6'9". I don't know why people keep going on about that either. He's not 6'9". And when you're that size, you don't live the life. You don't have that mobility as is. It's an anomaly. That doesn't happen very often. And what happens is you tend to find that you'll change your styles to adapt to where your body tells you to go. And he's adopted this style because he can't move like he used to, and he's got to hold his feet. And listen, this is a guy, I think he's been over, how many hours? He's been over 9 times, 10 times. He got put over by Cunningham, a very small cruiserweight way back when. He's been over loads of times. Although his powers of recovery are remarkable, you can't keep doing it. You can't keep going to the well. And I think against Usyk, that was the biggest indication that, and he's not a known puncher, Usyk. He's an accurate puncher. He's a consistent puncher. And from what I'm hearing, Fury's coming in a little bit lighter, and Usyk's coming in a little bit heavier, and he looks a lot bigger. Yeah,
there is one of the judges has pulled out ill, hasn't they, over the last couple of hours? So does that have any bearing? Do you think it'll go to points?
Yeah, listen, the fact that the judges had it so close the last time, that horrifies me. If you're a professional judge and you don't score that 9-3, 8-4, you need to go and get your eyes tested, because it wasn't. I understand the narrative from the promoters and everybody trying to sell the fight. Usyk was a clear winner, an absolute clear winner, and he potentially, if he wouldn't have knocked him, effectively got the 10-8 round, he'd have got jobbed on the cards. I worry this time, and I think Usyk's team's worried this time, that they're going to job him on the cards to get the trilogy fight, which generates a ton more money. I think Usyk's coming in for the knockout, and that's what I think is going to happen. Yeah,
we'll find out. It's live on talkSPORT tomorrow night. Right earlier on talkSPORT 2, we heard Wessel Nyman overcome Cameron Carolison in an absolute thriller. And Wessel's be speaking to our very own Ian Danter.
I'm very happy I won that one, and I'm very happy I kept calm in the last set, and I did 3 really great legs to win it. But, yeah, I never played a game like that before.
Well, you know, sometimes these players who come from different parts of the world that we don't know a great deal about can surprise us all, and his scoring, his 180s, his 140s, I mean, that was very, very impressive. It was a lot to live with, wasn't it?
Yeah, especially after the first 2 sets, he started to hit more triples, and most of the times I don't watch at the players throw, so I just watch down. The crowd kept behind them, and every triple they were roaring and get where. But I'm not looking at the board, I'm looking at my own darts, and the only thing I heard is the crowd going wild. It's like, this guy keeps hitting triples all the way.
Yeah.
But it's all right for now. But what a game.
But then these are games that you can learn from in different ways, right?
Yeah, especially to get like the experience. And I would say if I played the same game last year, probably wouldn't have won it because I don't have the experience I have right now. And probably next year I win a game I wouldn't have won this year. So we just go further and on and try to get as many wins as I can.
Yeah, Wessel Nyman speaking to Ian Danter after his, outstanding victory. And fair play sometimes. You know, your opponent is allowed to play well, Paul Nicholson, but Wessel Nyman, when he was right under the heat at the end, produced an outstanding penultimate leg and then broke through in the decider.
Wessel's probably played more games of darts this year than anybody on the Pro Tour, because he's been dominating the under-25 development tour, playing so many matches there and full-time on the Pro Tour as well. So he's got more reps from this season than anybody. But I'll tell you what that game's going to do for him. It's going to prove to himself that when he's under the pump, he can perform, because those last 2 legs were exceptional. If he didn't win them, he wasn't going through. But now he's going to eye up the next round and think, I should win this, because he's so prepared. If he was playing tomorrow, I'd probably doubt whether he could win again like that. But he's so young, so experienced for someone so young. But my word, that was a great fight back in the last set.
It was. If you're just joining us, thinking you're tuning into Ian White against Sandro Erik Sosing. Sandro's sadly been taken ill. He's been taken to the hospital with chest pain. We hope he's okay. The early indications are he is, and he will be. But for the benefit of Sandro, they've taken him to get checked out. So Ian White will be through to take on Richie Edhouse in round 2. Still to come this afternoon, Stephen the Bullet Bunting will hoping to get his campaign off to a winning start. He takes on Kai Gotthardt, who beat Alan Suter 3-1 in round 1 here. Crowd are waiting patiently. They understand the seriousness of the situation. We've got some real big games coming up over the next couple of days here. We will be back here live tonight for the evening session, and then tomorrow night the likes of Luke Littler will be taking to the stage to begin his campaign to become the champion of the world. John McDonnell making his way back onto the stage. Well, Bunting, for one thing, will get the fans singing as he heads onto the hockey today.
Yeah, but they're not going to be singing Gold, because that's Andrew Gilding's walk-on song. They're going to be singing Let's Go Bunting Mental, and they're going to be singing Titanium by Sia. However, first, we've got to see his opponent and hear his opponent grace the stage for the second time in this tournament.
It's our second round action of the Paddy Power World Darts Championship. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the thousands joining us live and the millions joining us around the world, it's time to meet the players. ladies and gentlemen, into the second round in his debut year, a winner of the European Super League. Please welcome Gotthardt!
Gotthardt of Germany walking down the walkway, up the steps, after a few high fives with his German friends, all wearing his dart shirt, and funny enough, one of them is a spitting image of Ilkay Gundogan. He's not a bad person to have in your corner when things are pressure-filled, and the pressure will be on the German. He will have fans in the crowd because there are plenty here.
There always are. They travel well, the Germans.
Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the winner of the ringside. Time to meet the bullet, Stephen Bunting.
Not the big smile I was expecting, Bunting. On was quite relaxed. I think he looks a little bit tense as he makes his way. There's a hint of a smile from the bullet. He'll be doing some impromptu karaoke on the stage. We saw little Bunting here as well, watching his dad. Goes everywhere watching his dad. And we're hoping that his dad will make it through to round 3 after Christmas. But I don't know, Stephen Bunting looks a little bit warm, a little bit... not the usual buoyant Bunting.
Just goes to show, with all of his experience, which is about 25 years of playing darts, even he can get a little bit jittery in his first game of a World Championship. His best effort, semi-final back in 2021 when he had a humdinger with Price. That was a game full of ton-plus finishes. He doesn't want anything like that today. He wants to get through Kai Gotthardt without any fuss, but he will not take him for granted. They do have something in common, Mark. They've both walked onto tunes by the same artist.
Both players out, the red and black of the bullet, Stephen Bunting, the blue of Kai Gotthardt, the German, qualified through the Super League. Another strong tournament that takes some winning, and he beat Alan Suter despite breaking one of his darts in the opening round of the match, as Bunting's just emptying all his equipment out on the table. He looked like Mace after a night out there. There was stuff in pockets he didn't know he had.
The first thing I'm thinking there, I've known Stephen a very, very long time. I first met him when he was 16. He's playing County A darts for Merseyside against Northumberland at the Northern Club in Ashington, which is not far from where Stevie Harmison's from. And he's got a really big red and black darts case on his designated table on the right-hand side of the stage as we look at it. And you think that case is good enough to house a couple of sets of spare darts, spare stems, spare stem rings which he uses, maybe some extra punch just in case, and some flights as well. And then he puts the case down, puts his hand in his left breast pocket and starts pulling out extra kit. I mean, what's he doing in there, Stephen?
You can never have enough kit, that's the thing.
Yeah, ask Kai, because he snapped a dart in his first round match, and he's only got one spare dart left, apparently.
Wow. What happens if he was to break all his dart? Would he have to just go buy some, or could he borrow some?
I think the rules state that if you don't have a spare, someone can just give you a dart, but nobody's got any of his. There was a time last season where Dylan Slevin played against Callan Rids. Rids snapped something, didn't have a spare, and he ended up finishing the game with 2 darts. And he almost won the last leg with 2 darts.
Wowzers. Bunting against Gotthardt. Gotthardt with a throw here. Race to 3 sets. It is a round 2 game, so if we did get to 2-2 in sets and 2-2 in legs, we would go to a tiebreak like we did last night, as Kevin Dukes knocked out the number 2 seed Michael Smith. Smith from a similar part of the world as Stephen Bunting. They'll be hoping that they don't both fall by the wayside early on here.
60.
Ali Pali in fine voice. And that's what happens when you've got a lovely mix of local fans and international fans.
What they should have done, given that we've lost the game, they should have put you and Mace on.
Nobody wants to see that.
That's the 3 sets.
I think Mason's played enough darts today. He was down in the fans' village playing for 45 minutes. Well, that first maximum of the match comes from the PDC Europe Super League champion Kai Gotthardt of Germany. He's on 104 after 12, and Bunting, slightly slow start here, but he's got more set experience than most people in this tournament.
Yeah, former Lakeside champion, of course. He's been on top of the world, won the Masters early this year.
80.
Gotthardt leaves double 12, knowing he'll be back. Bunting on 192 in the opening leg.
What a great season Stephen's had. What a great visit this is.
140.
First 140 of the contest for Merseyside's Stephen Bunting. Double 12 for Gotthardt. First dart of a double in the match, and it's hit by the German. 1-0 to him on talkSPORT 2. This could be a belter.
Yeah, I think this is a tough game, Gotthardt. He's got a decent game. He showed that against Suter. Had a patch in that game where he didn't look like he was going to miss. Bunting has got serious levels to his game.
Yes, he has. He's attained levels over the last couple of years that maybe he's only ever done in practice. And it's all to do with the fact that he's changed 2 things. One, he's put 6 grams of weight on every dart he throws. He went from a 12-gram dart to an 18-gram dart.
60.
And almost overnight, when he started using these, his form looked more likely. Then, in the midst of doing that, he's figured out the mental side of the game maybe better than 99% of the people on the tour. He is now more mentally strong than he's ever been, and he needed to be, because he was contemplating 3 or 4 years ago
60.
walking away. We're so glad he didn't.
Certainly are. He's on the list of players who you wouldn't be surprised to see winning here.
100.
And on his own throw, he's down to 89. Gotthardt on 3-2-1. Gotthardt treble 19s, 2 of them. Decent visit.
Stephen, you require 89.
Speaking of treble 19, that's Bunting's next target, and he's found it right in the middle. Double 16 from the right-hand side of the hockey. Bunting misses double 16 twice. He's not going to be punished. The German on 2-0-2, just looking to get himself below 100 here. Might just do so. 80 with the first 2. Goes for the bullseye, but shades the small 18 to leave 104 for the second consecutive leg.
Double 16 is hit, and the bullet is off and running. No flicker of emotion on the face of Kai Gotthardt.
Now, using those very intricate darts that he so forcefully throws. Has a bit of a neck-snapping celebration to start leg 3 there with a ton. Last start hitting the treble 20. But to describe these darts, they look like something that a fisherman would use to put on the end of the line. They taper all the way to the point, and they have a really big circular dint in the top where he places his forefinger and thumb, and he throws them viciously. First rendition of There's Only One Stephen Bunting, and he recognises that by giving them a thumbs up.
Yeah, he does. He is a showman. He knows what it's about, being a PDC star. Gotthardt hits another max, his second in the opening 3 legs. under 130. Bunting way back on 356 and only 78 scored.
Doesn't have to take it out either. Bunting back on 278. And this is really good from Gotthardt, using the boards by getting that treble 18, then the treble 16 to leave double 4. He's on a small number double, but that's one of the better small number doubles.
96. Can you require 8?
Yeah, and he's got 2 visits minimum. Doesn't need it. Whacks it in a 13-dart holder throw. Impressive stuff from Gotthardt.
Averaging 95.39, leading by 2 legs to 1 in the first set. He looks more comfortable than at any point of that game he played against Alan Suter.
96.
Looks like he's ready for a battle.
He does, and I mentioned, look at the 2 players' demeanour. Kai Gotthardt hasn't shown one flicker of emotion, really, since he got on the walk-on. He just, I'm here to do a job, and I'm going to do the job, and I think this could be another entertaining game to take us through the afternoon as the bullet works along the bottom wire of the treble 20 for his first max of the game.
Well, in darting terms, this is like
100.
a Ferrari against a BMW, but you don't know what's under the hood of the BMW. It might just be an M3 that's capable of going about 185 miles an hour.
81.
We're going to learn a lot about Kai Gotthardt in the next 20 to 50 minutes. 301 for him, trailing Bunting by about 160 points.
58.
That trebleless visit does him no favours. Bunting on 144 to level up at 2-2 in the first set.
Yeah, take us to decider. Can't take it out in this visit. Oh, now then, single 5, so we'll come down for 19s, gets the treble. 82 to leave 62.
Here comes Gotthardt, trying to get another max. Gets it as well, his third. That leaves 63. Now Bunting needs to take the 62 out, otherwise he risks losing the set.
Yeah, might only get one at it. Will only be one. That one will be at double 16 for 2-2 in the opening set, and he's missed it.
Is it Germany 1, England 0? 63 left for Kai. He's got the treble 13, double 12. Hasn't missed a darted double in the entire set. That is a bit of a surprise, or is it? Because that was a brilliant showing of what the Super League champion can do. Average of 98.28 mark. That is a warning to everybody who wants to go Bunting mental this afternoon.
It is a race to 3 sets for a spot in round 2. The bullet under the pump here. Gotthardt leads by 1 set to 0.
talkSPORT. Situation where you just look carefree, and I only want to know, has that always been your personality? Have you been all the time, or is it just something that with all of this madness you've just gone, I'm just going to be me through it?
I do myself, keep myself to myself. In a practice room, I don't really speak to anyone. Obviously, I'll let on to a few people. Obviously, I'll sit with a few players who are on the same management team as me. But it's just keep myself to myself, and obviously with all the media stuff, and I'm just keep myself to myself.
Yeah, that can't be easy though, because everybody wants a piece of you, expected to do lots of promotional stuff, and life obviously is very different from it was last year. But to keep grounded, to keep playing your game, and to keep winning the way you have is a sort of testament, really, to your attitude.
Yeah, well, like I said, promotions and stuff. My manager, he'll sort everything out. But yeah, I'm just myself.
Can you still enjoy playing as much as you did? Because obviously you wouldn't have got the level you did so young. I mean, you still get the fun aspect of it. Or does it feel like work?
Yeah, it's just my first year, and what I've done, it's incredible. But also it is work. Obviously, there's money to be made, and also there's titles to pick up.
What does the end look like? I don't want to talk about that because you are a year in, but you know, like, everyone comes into it with aspirations, don't they? What does a good season look like for you?
Well, at the end, I've said I wanted to win. I want to win every major title once.
Brilliant.
Tick everything off. So Premier League and Grand Slam's already ticked off in my first year.
You'll be done by 20.
Yeah, people going on. Been talking about Phil Taylor's record of 16 world titles, and there's a lot to beat. So if I'm in the game for long enough, maybe, but I can't see myself winning 16.
Once again, we are live at the Alexandra Palace. It's another double-header to get your sporting weekend off to the best possible start. 4 games to come tonight. We'll have them all live from 7 o'clock. Final game of the day in the afternoon. Stephen Bunting, the number 8 seed, behind Takai Gotthardt in a race to 3 sets. Gotthardt, the German, takes out the opening set. We'll be back here tonight from 7. Tomorrow is game day live across the talkSPORT network, and we kick off 12:30, double-header, live and exclusive on talkSPORT. Villa against Manchester City. Rahman Chowdhury, Sam Matterface and the former Chelsea defender Scott Minto. Over on talkSPORT 2, Portsmouth Coventry live from the EFL, exclusively live only on talkSPORT 2. Faker others with Nigel Adley and the former Liverpool midfielder Ray Houghton as Portsmouth take on Coventry. All the goals as they're going on talkSPORT with Adrian Durham, Dean Ashton, Alvin Martin and Mickey Gray at 2:30. And Dance will be hot-footing it here from the Palace up to Portman Road for the 3 o'clock kickoff as Ipswich take on Newcastle. You'll not hear that anywhere else on national radio. You can't watch it anywhere else. It'll be only live on talkSPORT 2 at 3 o'clock. Right, we're back underway in set 2. Bunting's got the throw, but only 60 scored here. Gotthardt can't quite capitalise with 81, but looking at the numbers, Gotthardt averaging 97, 3 180s and 3 from 3 on the doubles, Paul Nicholson.
So far, so very, very good for the German. But curiously, Kai couldn't wait to leave the stage after winning that first set. Maybe just needed to go backstage and take a breath in private. Well, it seems to have done him some good because he's already got his 4th maximum at the start of set number 2. Stephen Bunting didn't leave the stage at all. Stayed up there, kept practicing, and we are only 4.5 legs into this match, Mark. I'm looking at the facial expressions of Bunting, and he doesn't look very positive at all.
I said to you, as soon as I saw him on the walk-on, I was a little bit concerned. He's normally quite buoyant when he comes on. He looked a little bit subdued. He looked like he was going through the motions. But look, it's early days, and Bunting, if he does win, we'll speak to him. You'll be able to watch it on the YouTube channel, talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. You can watch all the interviews with all the winners so far right there, right now. You can watch along with us as well. If you listen at home on your smart speaker, you might want to get YouTube up on your phone or your tablet, whatever, and join us here. Gotthardt, though, is going to get a chance to break the Bunting throw here early on.
He is. Bunting on 195 takes the 95 off. But Kai's already on 48. Looking at double 16 after the single 16 is found in the middle. Just on the outside, and then dart number 3 is found. What is happening in this match? And the Kai Gotthardt contingent in row 2 of the VIP area right now are smiling from ear to ear. The Bunting contingent look very worried. It doesn't seem like a short format best of 5 sets, but I assure you, when this kind of thing is happening, it feels like the walls are closing in.
Well, we know that Stephen's got the experience, he's got the quality, and he might have to do what Vessel Nyman did earlier on and find a way to dig himself out of a hole. 1-0, Gotthardt leads. 1-0, the German leads. But here Bunting is looking to launch his own assault on the German's throw, and that's not a bad way. Last start just drifts into the one, but 1-2-1 puts him way in front.
I'm not really sure what Gotthardt means for the German with that surname, but if we're going to use the English phonetics of it, this guy really has got heart, because he showed it against Scotland's suitor in the first round. Showed a great deal of passion. He's probably going to need everything he's got to be here over Christmas and to be playing post-Christmas darts against either Dirk van Dijvenbode or Maras Razma, who was facing Christian Kiss with that 9-darter being hit the other night.
140 Bunting, 164 Gotthardt. Bunting, the 8th seed, can't take it out, so he's going to have a little bit of a nervous wait to see if Gotthardt can get rid of the 164. Nice last dart. How did Bunting get that in there?
With shots like that, he needs to play for Liverpool.
He'd love to play for Liverpool.
And he would if he was asked.
64.
He's been hanging out with Jamie Carragher recently, isn't he, talking about football and darts? Well, now he needs to hit tops. The right colour, it's red and it's right in the middle. But that leg, for me, the best dart was the penultimate one. He does block the treble 20 by hitting the small 20 twice. He goes all the way to his left to find what he can see of maybe a quarter of the treble 20 bed to leave that tops, and maybe something starting to churn now, because he's only missed one dart from his previous 5.
1-1 in the second set. Race to 3 sets here. This replacing the 3rd round after Christmas, and we will have every dart for you live across the talkSPORT network post-Christmas here at the Palace.
What do you think about this section of the draw, Mark? Because I've mentioned Dirk van Dijvenbode and Matters Rasma, our potential opponents next for the winner of this, but you've also got Connor Scott, who's already come through a game with Ben Robb, averaging nearly 102. He's playing Damon Hector, the number 8 seed in this section of the draw, and Mike de Decker's already out, courtesy of Luke Woodhouse, so there is a lot of possibilities in this top section, which does include the number 1 seed Luke Humphries.
I think if you took Humphries out of it, that is a good section to be in, but sadly you can't do that, and Humphries is at the top of the section. Right, Bunting 161 to hold throw and go 2-1 up in the second set. Can't find the treble, nowhere near it, truth be told. Neither is his adjustment. Goes for the outer ball, which was good use of that. Gets him down to a 2-dart finish.
212 is where you think maximum to leave 32. Gotthardt gets nowhere near it. 3 different singles give him 156. But Bunting is 60 points better off. Doesn't get the treble 20, he's just underneath. And he is again. All he can do is go down to the 16s and get 3 of them to leave double 4. Gotthardt 156. He's not going to take it, and Bunting has a chance of a first set lead in this match.
Yeah, this to go 2-1 up. Can he hit the double 4 on the outside of it? Oh, now inside. This is a big dart, double 2. Bunting roars with relief. Little Bunting roars even louder. 2-1.
Every time we see Toby cheering on his dad, it reminds us of previous times. I remember years ago when Stephen was a kid, he would have been watching Lakeside Championships where young Aaron Monk cheering on his dad Colin, who would end up making it to the semi-finals at Lakeside. Aaron would actually go on to play here at various World Championships and become World Youth Champion here back in 2011, beating a certain Michael van Gerwen in the final.
2-1. Gotthardt on throw. Gotthardt leads 1-0. You're live on talkSPORT 2. Mark Wilson and Paul Nicholson with you. We'll be back tonight as well. 4 more live games on the talkSPORT network from the Alexandra Palace, including mighty Michael van Gerwen, former 3-time champion here.
I think the game of the night's going to be Hempel against Desvan. I think that's got possibilities. Yeah. And then, of course, that all-Irish battle between Slevin and O'Connor, that could be very interesting.
Yeah, I think we're in for a good night of darts tonight. The thing is, you never know, do you, what you're going to get. We didn't expect that thriller this afternoon with Cameron Carolison.
Not at all. That was a nice surprise.
It was. Bunting from 210. 127, just went for the ball to try and lead tops. Got that 149, not going to take it out. So Bunting here is going to get a chance to wrap up the second set and level up at 1 set apiece.
Bunting starting to get a grip on this game, piece by piece. He's now averaging 92, and Gotthardt's average is coming down towards 93. 83 for Bunting, and he's on the bullseye for the set. just underneath and to the right, and Gotthardt can survive if he finds 85 for 2-2.
Yeah, he's going to go a similar route, but he hits treble 16. That leaves double 9, and he takes it out. Clinical from the German. 85 on double 9, and it's 2-2. Bunting now, this is a massive leg of darts. He wins it, it's 1-1. He loses it, it's 2-0 to the German.
And Kai is 5 out of 6 on the doubles. That's why he's in this position. Do not underestimate any German dart player. They know how to come to the Palace and do things. Remember when Kevin Munch beat Adrian Lewis? Nobody thought that was going to happen. Kevin Munch has got the worst record of any player in history on the European Tour, losing 13 out of 13 times, but he's beaten Adrian Lewis at the Palace. It makes no sense. And this game, it's all about Bunting, isn't it? Well, apparently not.
Well, Gotthardt will be disappointed there. He came to the board 15 in front, but only added 46 to his tally. But Bunting here has come up with 2 really poor visits, and it could be a third. He's shaking his head here. There's sweat pouring from every orifice at the minute.
He's averaging 89 in this game, Bunting, and that's exactly the same level as the first set. He's not finding that extra level over the course of a set. 3-2-1 Gotthardt comes down by a ton. That last start was crucial. He's now on 2-2-1, a good visit ahead. 340 for Bunting. He needs something huge.
He does. Treble 20 single only a ton, so he's lost the throw. He's on 240, got out on 2-2-1, set on the line here. Will it be 1-1? Will it be 2-0? You'd have to say at the minute it's looking more likely to be 2-0.
125 left for Gotthardt, and when he comes back, he will start on the bullseye. Where's Bunting going to leave himself from 240? He needs to dig deep. 80 with the first 2. It's only a ton. I don't think that's enough. Gotthardt will start on the bull for the 1-2-5, and he gets the bull right in the middle. Gets another one. He didn't want it, but he has left double 8 for the set. If Bunting does not take out what would be a completely heroic check out to bring this place to its knees.
Kai Gotthardt wipes the sweat from his brow. He can only watch on. Will he get a chance at double 8? Bunting 140's right in the middle. Surely that's a good marker. Oh, the bullet was a mil off. A mil off, but it might be as good as a mile. Gotthardt for 2-0, double 8, just on the outside wire. And again, couldn't be any closer. 3 darts for the set missed. Bunting breathes again. Big moments at the Palace. Gotthardt knows a chance has been and gone. Can the bullet step in for 1-1? He can. Big moments at the Alexandra Palace. Bunting needed Gotthardt to miss, and Gotthardt did miss. It's all level. Bunting shakes his head as he walks off. For Gotthardt, that was one that got away. Race to 3, all level here in North London. It's Bunting 1, Gotthardt 1.
talkSPORT 2, official broadcast partner of the Premier League.
Ali Pally, but there was last night. There was I think the referee had to step in and tell some of the punters in the crowd to stop whistling. There's been a few incidents.
In what game was that? I didn't watch.
I think it was in the final. There was a bit of whistling going on when Luke Humphries went up to throw because they were all quite little heavy yesterday.
You don't want that. Yeah. It's a bit of a little hype at the moment. Every question they ask me about Luke. So which Luke? Humphries or Luke Woodhouse or Luke,
yeah. But there's also a lot of respect as well, right? That people in the audience have to understand. These guys are still professional, still trying to do their job. We're all out having a good time, but
if you look purely to Luke Humphries, his results in the last 18 months been incredible. His record's been absolutely phenomenal, but no one talks. Yeah, of course, people talk about it not as much as they should do.
Yes.
Because look, there's another massive project on the darts who does well as well, and people talk about that because he's young. He's only 17 years old, so yeah, we're going to see.
The bookies, you're still well up with the bookies as I look at the odds here, Michael. Although it might. They've got you as 4th favourite at the moment.
Who's 3rd?
Well, they've got Gary Anderson.
Okay.
So 12 to 1.
I must say, this is my first time ever meeting this man in person. He's a man after my own heart. He's straight out.
You're on good form.
Yeah, I understand because Littler and Deluxe, they both did well. I understand that. I don't really get the third one. They might hate that money.
And then there's quite a big drop-off after you to Mike De Decker, the Belgian. He's down at 25 to 1. And
Is he fifth?
He's fifth, yeah.
I don't get that one either.
Michael Smith sixth.
Michael Smith sixth, same as De Decker, same odds.
I know where my money's going after this.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You're going to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm sticking 100 on the big fella.
Are you
I'm not allowed to say anything, but it's a big price. It's never going to be bigger than that.
Even the bullet Bunting has just dodged 3 bullets at the end of the second set. He was 1-0 down, and Kai Gotthardt 3 darts to wrap up a 2-0 lead, but he missed double 8 3 times, and the bullet stepped in to level up the match at 1-1. Race to 3 for a place in round 3 post-Christmas here at the Palace. Another bumper day of darts. We're back tonight from 7 o'clock. 4 more ties to get stuck into. Earlier on today, Alexander Merckx, the first ever appearance here at the Palace for him. He won 3-0 over Stephen Burton. The Dutchman through to face Chris Dobie in round 2. Wessel Nijman also through after an absolute cracker against Cameron Carolissen, the South African. 3-2 Wessel Nijman won, and he had to win the last 2 legs of the match to scrape through. He'll take on Joe Cullen in round 2. Ian White is also through to round 3. His opponent, Sandro Erik Sosing, sadly had to pull out with a health scare, and he's been taken to hospital. Our fingers crossed Sandro will be okay, but Ian White through. We'll take on Richie Edhouse in round 2. Bunting against Gotthardt is underway tonight. It's Mansell against Gotto, Hempel against Desvan, O'Connor against Slevin, and Van Gerwen against Hurrell, all to come. Mark Wilson with the former PDC star Paul Nicholson, and it'll be fair to say, of the two, the man in red and black, Stephen Bunting, will have enjoyed that interval more than his opponent Kai Gotthardt.
Yeah, watching Kai leave the stage after set 2, very different emotions compared to the end of set 1. When set 1 was over, he left with a real pep in his step. Bunting stayed on the stage, and it seems like he's figured something out over the last 15 minutes or so. Kai's mood has changed, all because of those 3 missed darts at double 8 to be 2-0 up, and Bunting all of a sudden, he's just got a bit more aura about him. He's on 2-2-5 after 6 darts at the start of set number 3. It's 1 set all, and now Bunting is favourite for this match again, like he was at the start. But after a very iffy start, now he's starting to figure this out.
Yeah. Gotthardt with the throw here, but he's well on the back foot. Started leg 1 in set 3. He's on 3-8. Bunting's already down to 1-2-5. And what we know about these real elite players, Paul, they've got levels to their game that when they start to hit big, they go very big.
Yeah, they do. A bit like Wessel Nijman in the previous match, just when he needed it. And he spoke with Ian Danter, didn't he, about the benefit of previous experience. Well, Bunting's got more experience than most in the draw. He's on tops after 12. And this is to break the Gotthardt throw at the start of the set. That is a sign of what maybe is about to happen. Gotthardt denied any darts at double in the first leg of that set. And all of a sudden, Bunting's facial expressions are one of focus and not one of panic.
100.
Yeah, just starting to speed up a fraction, the bullet. What's Gotthardt got here? Both have been good on the doubles, 56% Gotthardt. The one alarming miss was that in leg 5 of set 2. He missed 3 darts at double 8.
And he didn't miss them by much. First dart was caressing the wire on the outside. The other 2 marginally further away, but they were not thrown poorly.
Yeah, you'd argue that the first one was probably too good a miss. He could have done with it being a little bit further away, but it is fine margin. How many times do we say that? Fine margins.
Well, let's not forget as well that when he was on the 1-2-5 at the end of the set, he hit 2 bullseyes. Imagine if he'd actually hit the 25 with dart 2. He could have hit the bullseye to win the set, but he didn't. That's the thing. Darts is cutthroat. There's no maybes. Did you or did you not?
Yeah, that's it. 161 then for the bullet. Can't take it out here. Treble 19 is hit though. Oh, and treble 16. That's great shooting to leave double 18.
It is, and consider the fact that he's left a double after 12 for 2 consecutive legs now. Prime Bunting has eventually shown up. Double 18 it is for him. Gotthardt back on 114. Bunting decides to split 18 points, and he misses double 8 this time, just with the 1 dart. Gotthardt 114 for 1 all in the third.
Topsy hits with his last dart to leave tops. Double 4 for the bullet, and a 2-0 lead in set 3. Yes, starting to look more comfortable now. The man from the northwest of England.
And Stephen's had some great practice partners over the years. He's a bit like Ian White, who has gone through to the next round courtesy of the withdrawal of Sandro Eric Solsing. Known as someone who people do contact. Will you please practice with me? Because if I practice with you, I will get better. And the fact remains that in this section of the draw, he could meet Luke Humphries at the later stages, and Humphries and Bunting have been practicing together in the lead up to this.
Fair enough.
96.
Bunting in the ascendancy here. Scores a level on the Gotthardt throw. Third leg of the third set. Poor visit again from Gotthardt, and you just wonder how much those 3 missed starts at double 8 are impacting on the German at the moment. He's got to try and forget about it here.
50.
It's not a great visit from Bunting either, so no damage done for Gotthardt.
Averaging 89 in this game, the German, just like his previous match. So we may have figured out his level. High 80s sometimes is good enough to win matches on this stage, but Cameron Carolison will say, I averaged nearly 97 and didn't win.
66.
He did everything but win.
That'll
be a long flight home for him, won't it? Be proudest punch of his performance, but disbelieving 96. In the fact it didn't get him a win.
Yeah, I think Rashad Sweeting and Cameron Carolison should be very proud of their efforts. They're both leaving North London without a win and extra prize money, but they're leaving with a lot of pride.
Yeah. Bullet from 189, it's 135, so he is down to 54. 74 for Gotthardt, 18, so 16. That leaves a shot at tops, and he's over the top. So Bunting here has got a chance to wrap up this third set in 3 legs.
It's his worst leg of the set, but he won't care if he takes 54 out to win it. Double top. His doubling in that set was stupendous. He gradually got worse leg on leg, but it was a level that Kai Gotthardt couldn't live with. 98.02 for the set for Bunting, and from 1-0 down he is now ahead, and it looks as if Stephen is ready to hit the accelerator and get into the next round.
Well, when you play the very best, you don't get too many chances to take them out. He had 3 darts, got out at 16, and he missed all 3. And that might be the nearest he gets.
Do you know what, Mark? Years ago, it was 2017. Glenn Durrant was at Lakeside, and Paul Hogan was on double 8. He missed 3 darts at that double. Glenn survived that match and went on to win the tournament. We remind him of that all the time, because sometimes you don't need luck in darts, you need someone to miss.
I say it every time, Nicole. You know, and it doesn't say that when you go back and look who won a tournament. Did they survive a match dart? You do need the other guy to miss. And he did miss Gotthardt, much to his frustration. And the good thing about that 3rd set for Bunting, it was against the Gotthardt throw, so he's now throwing for the match here in set 4.
It's actually very rare that someone wins a tournament without having a match dart against them. Stephen's on 167. I'll tell you a tale about what he's done in his career post this leg. He's not going to take the 167, but he has got 6 darts for it with Kai on 177. Not really a great visit there from Stephen. He's still in 3-dart territory on 108.
It's not the worst out, is it? But it could have been a whole lot better. Gotthardt has left 84. So this for a hold for Bunting, 108. Doesn't get the treble. Is he going to stay there or go for treble 16? He gets treble 16, needs tops. 108 taken out. 50% on the doubles for the bullet. And he now is on a roll. That's 5 legs on the spin for Stephen Bunting, who is only now 2 away from a place in round 3.
Sometimes when you look at the score sheets, it tells you fibs. Quite a few games in this tournament have done that, but when Stephen Bunting was winning his 2nd World Masters in 2013, we were just talking about needing people to miss the odd shot. Stephen Bunting didn't lose a set in the entire tournament. Didn't lose a set, and each set was best of 3 legs. It was even shorter than this, but more sets. The fact that he did that, it went into folklore, and that was 12 years ago. His Lakeside win in 2014 when he beat Alan Norris in the final, that was 11 years ago. He's been a PDC Pro ever since. He's probably a better player now than he's ever been. That's frightening.
Gotthardt is in trouble here. From 305 he hits the ball, the outer ball. And treble 20, that's a great visit. Gets him down to a finish. But Bunting is in for 1-2-1 and a breaker throw here. And he's hit the ball. 71 required. Can't hit treble 13. Would have left double 16.
You've got to give Kai credit. From 305, he was super creative to leave 170. He's not going to take it though. Single 20 followed by 2 single 19s in the small section. And Bunting on top, so 3 darts in hand. This is academic, the way he's doubling.
Well, that's nearer the big number at the top of the board, and then he's half an inch under. Oh, the old 3rd dart killer, just as Gotthardt was starting to think he was going to get a look at 112. Bunting hits double 10.
This match can be categorised by the next sentence, in my opinion. Since those misses at double 8 to win set 2 by 3 legs to 2, Gotthardt has not won a leg.
He's had 1 shot at double. That's all he's had, 1 sniff.
And that is fully to the credit of Stephen Bunting, because the output of Gotthardt has not changed that much. He's still averaging 89.
Bunting throwing for the match then. I don't think he looked at all comfortable when he came onto the stage today. He lost the opening set 3 legs to 1, and he should really have lost the 2nd set, but he didn't. And the bullet is looking like he's going through to round 3.
Well, you work over a myriad of sports, Mark. Rugby league, football, darts, and some other stuff as well. How many times have you heard that sports people have got to be comfortable being uncomfortable? Stephen was uncomfortable, but at that point I think he's saying to himself, I'm okay with this, I'll come through it. And he's going to, the way he's playing.
But how many times do you say that the good players find a way to win? When they're put under the pump, that's when they come up with the goods, and that's why they're the elite players in the sport. And he's been pushed here He has been pushed. We saw earlier on Wessel Nijman pushed right to the very edge, but found a way to win. And that's the difference between the great and the good.
Bad last start there from Bunting. A single 5 leaves 165. Gotthardt halves his score with a 140. Bunting tells himself off for leaving this bogey number. All is not lost.
No, you are listening to coverage of the PDC World Darts Championship on talkSPORT 2 in Village Hotels. Dine out, stay, work out and play this festive season at one of 33 cracking UK locations. 140's not going to go. Got to be careful he doesn't hit a treble. He nearly did bust his score there. Bunting then for the match. 68 he needs.
Who thought he was going to have a shot for 3 sets to 1, winning loads of legs consecutively to get this match under his belt? He's got a shot at tops, Bunting, and he hits it immediately. An early scare when he lost the first set, but something happened in the break for Bunting after set 1. He stayed on the stage, he went into a bubble, and from that point on he had a scare at the end of set 2, but he was the better player in the final 2 sets, and he denied Kai Gotthardt another leg after that. Great test for Bunting, but he prevails by 3 sets to 1.
Yeah, impressive performance from the Bullet. Those 3 missed darts at double 8 really were a pivotal moment in that match. It allowed Bunting to take out the second set, and he wouldn't drop another leg in the match. What a performance it was. 92.12, couple of 180s, the highest out of 108, which he took out at the start of the final set of the game. 50% on the doubles. He'll be happy with that part of the game, but he won't be happy with how he played earlier on. However, as they've all said, and I'm sure Stephen will tell us, and you'll be able to watch on our talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel later on, he's through. That's all he's bothered about.
Correct. And sometimes it's good to be tested in your first game. If you're only playing 1 game pre-Christmas, what you do is you say your tournament consists of 1 match before Christmas Eve, whenever that is. And as soon as the lights go out here at Alexandra Palace on the night of the 23rd of December, everybody starts thinking about the next tournament, which starts on the afternoon of the 27th. Stephen will be back. Tournament 1 has been negotiated. Tournament 2 will start in a few days.
It will indeed, and Bunting will very much be a part of that. There's a lot of water to flow under the bridge, so before we get to that stage, we'll be back later on this evening at 7 o'clock. 4 more games to come. Following us here, it'll be a darts show podcast special. Dan Dawson in conversation with Phil Taylor. We have had a busy day, not quite as busy a day as we were expecting. Alexander Merckx, 3 sets to 0 winner over Stephen Burton. He'll take on Chris Dobie in round 2. Wessel Nijman in an absolute cracker beat Cameron Carroll-Listen 3 sets to 2. Nijman will play Joe Cullen in round 3. Ian White was supposed to be playing Sandro Erik Sosing, but Sandro sadly taken ill just before the match, and Ian White is through with a walk over the diamond. Will take on Richie Headhouse in round 2. We've just seen Stephen Bunting wrap up a win over Kai Gotthardt. Didn't quite have it all his own way. To come tonight, Mickey Mansell, Tomoya Goto, Florian Hempel, Jeffrey Desvan, Willie O'Connor against Dylan Slevin, Michael Van Gerwen against James Hurrell. Just quickly, Nico, before we go, your pick of the matches tonight?
Well, I love that William O'Connor game against Dylan Slevin. There's going to be a great deal of scowling at the board from Willie O'Connor, who is desperate for a World Championship run. Slevin here for the 2nd time after the PDC qualifier was taking place at the end of last month. He'll see this as a bit of a freebie in one way, but if he doesn't win tonight, he still hasn't secured his tour card for next year, so that's on the line as well. So I'm going to go for the All-Irish match in game 3.
Should be an absolute cracker. Thanks to Nico, thanks to Mace, thanks to Dan, sound producer Matt. We'll all be back here at 7 o'clock. Dan Dawson with Phil Taylor on the Darts Show podcast special is up next. But from the Palace, they're all going Bunting mental because the Bullet is through. He's beaten Kai Gotthardt by 3 sets to 1.
talkSPORT 2, official broadcast partner of